Let's do this.
I wanted to play this video here. I like to play that because I paid for it, so I want to pay for it.
Oh my God!
Oh man,
you know what I'm saying?
That's just smart business.
Yeah, I mean, listen, and there's no shame in my game. Listen, I paid for this thing, so I'm going to use it.
yeah.
So just want to welcome everyone who's tuned in. Thus far, we have one viewer right now, so we expect more to trickle in. And welcome to Captain Hunter's podcast. Myself and Aisha are here once again, and we are going to be talking about messy entanglements because it's fun. In all honesty, it's fun to talk about. And today, we have some good brothers and good sisters from Good Brother. Tell me again. Good Brother. No.
Is Dear Brothers, Dear
Brother. Dear Brother.
DBDS.
Listen, I knew I was going to mess that up, man. Dear Brother. Dear Sisters. And you guys are relationship experts, or are you claiming to be relationship experts, or are you claiming to be, or are you? Yeah. You went to school for that, right, Mel?
Well, I have a coaching certificate in it, but I consider myself a relationship advisor.
Okay.
I'm still learning as well, and I just drop off the experience and the knowledge to my peoples, and I just want us to be a cohesive unit, man and woman, so that way we can have healthier relationships. That's what we're about.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So thanks you so much, you guys, for coming on the show. Really been looking forward to it because Aisha and I, we've been having a lot of laughs and kind of been winging it. So it'd be good to have some experts on here who know what they're talking about and who have been through some stuff. Right?
We've been through some stuff.
So Aisha, what's going on? How you been doing? What's up?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Podcast night. Night. So I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be here, especially with our co-counterparts. Shamel, I grew up with him in the same neighborhood, so we go way back, and have been around each other since we were a youth. So I am so proud that he is and has developed a platform for the people to discuss those things and deal with relationships, because you know what, they make us, they determine who we are, and the better we have those relationships, the better we'll be. And he is a brother that has definitely put his mark, and now has kind of connected with Nicole. It's Nicole, right?
It is. Yep.
Yeah, Nicole. And they've created this unit to kind of just tackle the world. So big ups to you guys for taking time out of your weekly schedules to really really penetrate an audience for a greater good. So that's my spirit.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let's hear from you, Nicole. Tell us your story.
So my name is Nicole Marie. I'm from Denver, Colorado. I seem to be, when we do our podcast, I'm the only one on the West Coast. So we're hoping to change that and just get more people on the West involved in the show. But I am a brand ambassador and co-host on DBDS Live. I'm also a model. I promote body positivity and self-love. And I just love for people to be talking and conversations. And, like we always say, healthy relationships build happy families, healthy families, which in turn build stronger communities.
I absolutely love that. And that's what, when Aisha and another good friend of mine, Michelle, had approached me about doing this particular segment, messy entanglement. First, I was kind of hesitant because I usually talk about police stuff. But then as I thought about it, and the things I talk about more in law enforcement, right? I want to bridge the divide between the police and the communities, right? So I can't always talk about the police. We got to look at ourselves a lot of times. And as you just mentioned, Nicole, how do we look at ourselves? Right, we got to build strong families. Right, we got to have fathers in the home, mothers in the home. We got to push education. We got to do all this kind of stuff. So I think that this definitely goes along with my brand. And quite honestly, I think sometimes that messy entanglements is just kind of funny, in the stuff that we go through. It's good to have a laugh at times. So, Brother Mel, I'm going to ask you, how did you get into this? How did you become a relationship expert, coach, advisor? How did you get into that?
Wow, brother, good question. I mean, this all started way back 2014. I had a blog called mymagicpen.com, and up there I was just writing down my thoughts and things that I just want our brothers and sisters to gravitate towards, because as you mentioned, I want more fathers in the homes. I want more of a healthy standard. And every time I was writing these thoughts, I will always put dear. It was almost like a personal letter towards myself. So I'll put, dear brother, if you can't lead yourself, you can't lead a relationship. And I used to just put this on my mymagicpen.com blog. And the more I was putting it up there, the more people was gravitating towards it, almost to the point that I had almost over 18,000 followers. Wow. And this one brother reached out to me from Tempe, Arizona. Shout out to my brother Mo. And he's been following me. He was like, wow, man, you got this old school medieval letter form, dear brothers, dear sisters. I want to help you write a book. And I'm like, I thought it was a scam. I'm like, some guy from Tempe, Arizona is calling me to, don't know him from nothing. I'm in Connecticut. Who's this guy, right? He was like, I'll tell you what, I'll fly out to Connecticut to meet you, to show you how serious I am. Next day, it was out in Connecticut. I knew the brother was serious. Long story short, this is how the whole brand started, just from that little sea of just writing those blogs. And those blogs was actually helping people. Peoples were relating to the message I was giving out there. I'm so proactive of being a father. That's one of the things I advocate for. And I'm so proactive of sisters just, being more receptive, being more feminine. And that's what geared me to just write this book, Dear Brothers, Dear Sisters, Listen Up, and ever since then, it's just been a great roller coaster ride. Came across this amazing host, Nicole, right here, and we just been chopping it up since.
Yeah. So Nicole, tell us about how you guys did connect. I mean, you're out there in the left, well, not the left coast, Midwest. What is Denver? Is it Midwest? Left
it's
coast,
Midwest.
Okay, all right.
It's Midwest, yeah.
Okay. How'd you guys connect?
So, Mel actually reached out to me. Again, I'm all about body positivity and self-love. I've been through a lot myself, and in my journey of being, married and divorced, I came to a point where I realized that I had to look at myself. I had to, be accountable for the things that I was going through. So a lot of the things that I was posting, a lot of my modeling, a lot of just expression caught Mel's attention. He reached out to me and invited me onto the show. And that was March of this year. I came onto the show. I was a nervous wreck. I've never done anything live. I was a mess. But I did the one show, and that night I decided I was going to be their brand ambassador, self-proclaimed. I didn't ask or anything. I just said, hey, you guys, I'm going to be your brand ambassador. Mel and Mo were hosting at that time. And I remember talking to Mo Triplet, who said, the best thing about being self-proclaimed is that nobody can take that title from you. And the message that they give and the communication that they encourage in our communities, because it's true that we don't talk a lot. We don't show our emotions. We're taught that, that's being a sissy, or that's being a punk if you talk about your emotions. So just the fact that they had this platform, it was positive. I wanted to be involved, and I just was, and they can't get rid of me.
I don't want to get with you.
We tried. They tried, right? I ain't
going nowhere.
So I want to say hi to the guests who are in the out there in internet, YouTube, Facebook land. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember that we can't see you guys on this particular platform, so you have to say hi or give a thumbs up and everything like that so we can acknowledge you, and I would really, really appreciate it. And also, if you have questions and or comments, make sure that you do shoot them to us, and I will certainly read them to you, read them out there. So your book, is that a compilation of the blogs, or is it something completely different?
Something completely different. I talk a lot about, I have a communication background, bachelor's degree in that field. So I talk a lot about communication. I feel that's the most important component when it comes to the relationship, because if you can't communicate, then that would definitely determine whether your relationship is heading in the right direction or whether it's heading in the wrong direction. So I talk a lot about nonverbal communication, all different aspects, the emotional temperature, um, how do you react to certain disagreements, all of these things that could pinpoint whether a person is suitable, whether a person is compatible with you, or whether there's a chemistry factor that's going on. And I dive a lot into those different methods within the book. I have even this one method called a tennis theory. And I feel that when you come out there in that relationship, just like a game of tennis, you want to hit that ball across the net. That ball represents time, energy, effort. And if it's the right person, they're going to hit that ball back to you like a match, right? But the problem is, a lot of people, when they dive into this relationship, they look at lust or the idea of being in love. Sometimes when you're in that tennis court, when you hit that ball, that other person's not returning the ball back. And when that happens, you're just depleting yourself. You're depleting your time. You're depleting your energy. So those are just one of the examples, but I get a lot more deep on different topics within the book.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We had to check that out. Definitely.
Mm.
I want to get the ladies in here. You and I had talked about this, the importance of the fathers in the home, in men. I believe you talked about masculinity, femininity. I mean, this is 2000, is 2020, the year of disaster. But anyway,
Yes.
some people don't buy into the ideas of masculinity, femininity. So I want to get the ladies' opinions about what you think about the need, or is there a need about women, men in the home, strong men, strong women, etc. We'll go with you first, Nicole.
Absolutely, a man should be in the home. I mean, I was fortunate enough. My parents got divorced when I was 3. But I had a stepfather in the home who loved me like I was his own. My father and him got along so well. They combined together to make sure that I knew everything that I needed to know, so I didn't have to count on anybody. So for me to have a strong man to look up to, I know what a strong man looks like. I know that a strong man should provide. I know what a man should be in the household. I know a lot of times when women grow up and there's not a man in the household, they tend to get with toxic men because they don't have a guideline to follow. They don't have a foundation. We're just wondering, he seems like all right, he has money, so he must be good, right? So I think a father in the home instills those values early on in our lives.
Aisha?
Yeah, I was getting a lot of feedback. I'm sorry. I don't know if anybody else. I think it's with the issues. But I definitely appreciate. I heard some of the stuff that you were saying, Nicole, as far as your background and the type of love you received, and certain messages that you gained coming up as a woman. As far as femininity in the home, I think is definitely important. I think that it's really a nice balance when femininity and masculinity can mix together and just create this awesome,
Mm.
Yes.
explosive
Yes.
experience. I think a lot of times women we deal with a lot ourselves. I was just I'm in school for something for yoni steaming, and so I'm studying right now. And one of the things that is core that I think when it comes to femininity is how we take care of ourselves, and especially our womb. Our womb, we harbor everything. That's like our emotional hub. So I think a lot of times when that's out of balance, the level of engagement of a woman being feminine really becomes challenged. You're not able to really be into yourself. You're not able to, have that level of freedom that you have within yourself because you're so bogged down with everything else, and chemically you're off balance. And so a lot of times it goes back to what we eat and things of that nature and how we're treated, and especially the most prime element, which is love. And when love is present,
Mm.
women respond very, very differently in relationships. True, genuine love,
Hmm.
in love with correction. Because when you think about it in the spiritual aspect, if you have a higher connection with a higher power, God being mine, God deals with us, right?
Hmm.
Same thing in a relationship. It's not going to always be what we want to hear, but we have to be able to receive whatever we have to receive from the masculine man, knowing that, he's in a role, he has a duty, and especially if he's balanced, you know what I mean, and has the best intention at heart. So a lot of times, going back to love and understanding when it's present, it really, I know when I'm like loved right, and I'm just feeling this awesome vibe and connection with a man, like I just want to be feminine. I want to be domestic. Even in my areas that I lack, I want to count on that masculine energy to be able to promote me to be even more feminine. I think it's a
Yeah.
great benefit in being feminine. And what happens is that when we're not allowed to do that because of past issues, hurt, whatever may be going on, it bogs us down. It kind of, makes us not shine as much. So femininity is very, very important just overall, because we are very strong, we are very powerful in the land. So when there's a lack thereof, it's definitely shown, and it kind of breeds different things as well. When you're not able to be as feminine, you leave out core elements of yourself that need to be deposited in other people. So femininity really is very deep for me.
Love
Is it a bad word though? Is feminine? Sometimes I feel like femininity, even masculinity, are bad words in this day and in this time that we're living in. What's your thoughts about that, Mel?
I mean, from my perspective, I think they're natural words, I would say, because being masculine just shows that you're a leader. As a man, I feel like you should be committed to your purpose, as well as that's the first thing. You should be committed to your purpose in life, and then you're committed to your woman. Because if you don't have a passion or some sort of productivity going on to precisely push you more to your life's calling, then you're not going to be able to create that strong foundation with that special woman. And too many of our brothers, um their priorities is entirely different, and a lot of relationships don't last these days because brothers are not out there with a purpose or something that's passionate about, or they don't have the ideal what courting or true manhood is. So I think masculinity and femininity, they're perfect. They're it's almost like yin and yang. I truly feel in my opinion, from my perspective, that we weren't created to be equal. We were created to balance each other, as Aisha nicely stated. You're going to have your North Pole and you're going to have your South Pole. And if it's done in a natural manner, the more masculine a brother is, the more feminine a woman is.
Yes, yes.
If that brother's out there, just to use this as an analogy, it's almost like that brother's a rocket ship. And if you have that right sister, she's going to pour that emotional, nurturing fuel into you to keep them pushing you up, pushing you up. I mean, I'm telling you, Lawrence, there's been times that I was like, man, DBDS, sometimes Nicole and I mean, we do these shows weekly, but what keeps me going? My woman, she'll just come up to me and be like, you know what, Mel, you got it. She charged my battery pack because she's nurturing. I'm like, I feel invincible. I'm telling you, bro, I feel invincible. When the right woman pushes you like that, it's such an amazing feeling, brother.
Yeah. One thing that we talked about in what I'm often concerned about is kind of preaching to the choir. You try to be a good brother. People, I would assume, who tune into you are good brothers, trying to be good brothers. What do you say to people? And I definitely want to get your in Nicole's opinion on this. What do you say to the young men who don't have that purpose, who aren't productive, who are in the street, who how do we reach them? What do you say to them, and how do you reach them?
Well, I mean, the best way to reach them is, well, first off, you can't, it's almost like if someone is putting a rope down in a ditch, you got to be able to help yourself first. You got to be able to, if somebody's putting that rope in a ditch, you have to be able to grab that rope and accept that you need some guidance, like I did when I was young, and a lot of brothers that do reach out to me. Um, you have to continue to just lead by example. It's another thing as well. Been married for 5 years going on 6 years, healthy relationship. You got to have the integrity. You got to show them that, listen, what you see on TV, what you see in the media, what you see on, all these negative images about our brothers and sisters not having healthy relationships, we have to continue to show that there are positives. I mean, we do have Michelle and Barack Obama, but you need to have some ordinary folks to show that, listen, there are healthy relationships out there. There are resources out there. That's why we do have a DBDS live show that we do every Sunday. That's why we do have a group with about to reach 7,000 members. That's why we came out with a book. That's why we have the DBDS website. We're trying to, like, the more you lead by example, the more I think that will start to reverse the trend when they see these messages out there.
Your thoughts, Nicole?
I just piggyback what Mel says. You have to be a living example. You can't help someone that doesn't want to be helped. That's a fact. But you can't look down on these people either. So a lot of what we do comes from love. I'm not ever going to look at you and be like, oh, well, you don't agree with what I think, then you're not good enough to be on my level. To be open and accepting and having these conversations with people that don't exactly see it our way. One thing I really love about our show and our platform is we do have on different guests, different ages, different races, backgrounds, married, single, divorced, broken, going through it. We have all of these type of people on the show for the sole purpose of maybe this person can get out a message, and that's their opinion, that's gonna get to somebody that we couldn't get to, somebody that doesn't exactly agree with our way of thinking, because in reality, all of it is our opinion. All of these are our perspectives. What works for us may not work for somebody else. So just really living an example, doing what you say you're going to do, and just being a light in people's lives and not judging them or looking down, and being accepting of them and their experiences.
I think part of the conversation too is that even when people do struggle with having optimal life, it's almost like having very clear, concise conversations about you will do better. And I think it's the language, and that's why I preface that with you have to be able to speak a certain language. So if we as individuals, rational minded, right, are able to see a situation, know what's really going on and analyze that, know that we have that skill. Everybody doesn't have that. So if we have the time to build a relationship with somebody that is struggling with having just good relations or just having a good life flow, it's almost like you have to speak it into them every time you see them. You give them encouragement where there's a light at the end of the tunnel. You don't focus so much on the behavior and what's happening. It's almost like you have to allow them to see you speak different, which will translate. Okay, maybe I could do this. Captain Hunter said, "Yeah, I'm going through this hard time, with relationships or my mom, my dad, or whatever." But Captain Hunter said to me, "Hey, you got it within you to really have better relationships." So I think it's really about knowing what we see that's going on around us with other people and speaking something totally different than what they are experiencing. And that something totally different is something positive. So that's how I think we make an imprint on the world. It's we make that imprint by speaking something totally different than what a person maybe even used to experiencing.
Right.
And it's almost like that theory, like how you grow up and somebody always called you stupid, you'll be stupid. You know what I mean? Like that's what they say psychologically. That's what that does to a person. So when we meet people, we see they got a struggle. Hey, I see what's going on with you, but you know what? It won't be like that forever. Sometimes you just got to move a little different. It's those little phrases that kind of allow people to plummet into a different way of just operating, period. But we have to believe it even if we don't see it.
Right.
I love how you broke that down. I mean, that's called transformational vocabulary. Like when you instill those words so much, then it does become reality. When you put those affirmations within you, then you start to see the light, no matter what environment you're in. I mean, you and I go way back, and coming from the hood,
yes,
A lot of people would state like, man, Mel, this is where it's at. I was around so many negative people. But, when you start having that transformational vocabulary and start instilling in yourself, like, man, I know I'm confident. I know I'm smart. I know, I can make it. I can reach that plateau and continue to grow and grow. It starts becoming your reality. And a lot of people, they do it the opposite. They say that negative words. They don't interrupt it with that transformational vocabulary to push them to the next level.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, to piggyback off of that, Shell Walter says you got to speak life into them because a lot of times they don't realize there's a way out, and that's exactly what I would say is, I believe Nicole said you got to model that type of behavior. You got to show them, there is a different way. There's a way out. And that becomes so difficult, and so I appreciate Shell Walters saying that. You gotta speak life into them, because if you don't, then it's that whole negative image that Aisha was saying, that that you just start to believe it. You get beat down. I remember being in school and they said, sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me. That is the most wrong trope that anyone could ever say.
Psychological harm.
Right.
Absolutely. That psychological, that emotional harm can certainly do a lot.
Oh, Lawrence, Michelle, actually, she has a dating story. She told me she was going to call in and tune in tonight. So I'm glad that she's on the line and really giving her feedback in the midst of her travels, because she's traveling home. So, Michelle, you be safe out there, and thank you so much. And hello to everyone, my friend Nikita, Tracy. I seen a few of you guys in the comments. Hey, everybody. Sidebar.
Yeah, so thank you so much for tuning in. So let's talk. Let's talk a little bit about. Michelle did type in. She said, "Yikes! I don't want to be with someone that needs that much work."
Right.
So let's talk a little bit about the dating problems that's going on here. This is your guys' expertise. You have a website, you have a university, a book, a podcast, and a website that is dedicated towards dating, right? Something similar to all the other ones, correct?
Well, from our perspective, we call it a relationship website.
Okay.
We don't call it a dating site because our site is not right.
Okay.
Well, we try to push the narrative on our site is geared towards serious people looking for serious relationships. Our site is not geared towards hookups. Our site is not geared towards if you're a thug or whatever of that nature, that's not our site. Our site is more geared towards healthy relationships. Nothing like
thugs need love too, Mel, though.
Yeah.
It's not on our site.
You thugs don't need love. Y'all go somewhere else.
They need the most love.
Just to clarify, not the kind of brothers that you want to see up there doing obscene gestures. I would say,
Yeah.
that's what I'm referring to. The bad thugs. If you're a good brother, please come on. We want more brothers to come on.
Where's my baseball cap at? I was gonna have my baseball cap on backwards here, man.
Oh man, but that's what is a little bit different about our site, and we do monitor it as well. Thank God, no one has had any negative complaints about our sites. But if someone was to come to Nicole or myself and stated that someone is harassing them or calling them out their name, we have zero tolerance for that. They will be immediately removed from the site. There will be no research, no investigation. You're just off. So that's one thing that we really strive for. Another thing too, we're so strong advocates for healthy relationships that if you join DBDSSingles.com and you come across somebody on a site and you guys get together, we'll pay for your first date. That's how serious we want people to have a healthy relationship. So we definitely just trying to do our part to make the world a much better place, because it's bad enough that we have so many negative images and relationships out there. It's just terrible.
Am I frozen? Because I seem to be frozen.
Yes, we got a nice shot.
Yeah.
It's a good frozen position, though.
Yeah.
Listen, I can hear you guys fine. So I'm wondering if I should try to refresh or whatever. I don't want to break the screen here. I don't know. I'm going to try to refresh. So this is my own technical difficulties here. So I don't know what the story.
So when you refresh, does that he
was out.
He'll come back.
Well, while he's gone, I would like to plug DBDS Singles a little bit too.
Plug,
but with hold on a minute, because I am single. I like to consider myself the face of DBDS Singles because I am single and I am searching and I am, human and flawed. And I think even what we were talking about before with approaching people, I think transparency is really important. So I'm really open and honest with my experiences, what I've been through, the mistakes I still make, because Lord, I'm a work in progress. But with DBDS Singles, the one thing that I really love and I really appreciate is that when not just anybody can join, you have your email address and that's all you need. You have to log in with your Facebook profile. So, and Mel is actually, he does all of this, but he'll, go to your Facebook page, see what your content is about. Make sure that your relationship status doesn't say married or it's complicated, because we know what that means. He makes sure that your profile picture matches with your photos. If you're doing anything ridiculous or, throwing up gang signs or whatever it is, so we decide who's going to be on the site or who isn't. So it's not like just anybody can join. So then if you decide, or if you get deleted, you can't just make up a new email and then join again, because everything's linked through your Facebook. So it makes it a little bit more difficult for, repeat offenders to keep getting accounts and profiles on our website.
Repeat thugs.
Repeat thugs. Like, I need love.
Need that thug love. That
Right.
thug love.
I don't know if the women on our site are, probably not going to get no action. That's all I'm saying.
So have you had people who tried to be scammers or whatever? I mean, has that been a problem, an issue, or have you designed it specifically to stop that?
I mean, I have designed it to. Oh, we lost Aisha. Oh, there she goes. There's my sister. So, I mean, to a degree, it is designed to that extent, but it's still some that we have to block. I mean, if I go to the profile pic, I had a couple of brothers that were married and tried to join the site, and they didn't get a chance to join. So, I mean, we do the best we can because we want the site to be more personalized and geared towards relationships. It's definitely not a hookup site. So,
Well, and another thing is I'm on the site. So a lot of like the technical issues that we have, or, I'm able to test out and be, I'm a real live member. So I know what's going on the site too. So it gives us, we're plenty of fish. They might be, I'm sure their head bigwigs that own it probably aren't on the site looking for love or doing anything like that. So here it is really personalized because we're involved in what we're doing and what we're promoting.
Very good. Very good. Show Water says, in sin relationships, and sometimes people are broken. I think you meant but, or has the energy to put into someone else, I guess. I'm not sure.
Relationships, sometimes people are broken, but or has the energy to put into someone else. I think I know what she's saying. I mean, my take on it is, when you're looking for someone, I don't feel that you should look for someone to complete you. I think you should already be complete to share your completeness with that person. I think too many of our brothers and sisters, they, always put per se the dessert before the entree. And me and Aisha talked a little bit about it earlier. You have to take your time to know someone. You should always put the entree first before the dessert. Take your time, see what the ingredients is. See if it's a good meal, verbally, non-verbally. Be friends, take your time, see if there's some sort of compatible chemistry factor. In fact,
so we can't just jump into bed. Is that what you're saying? That's a bad idea.
I think that's a totally bad idea, brother. Because I believe that when you put lust, when you put that out there, it kind of, the emotions clouds the logic. It just clouds everything because you really cannot logically see if this person will affect you mentally in a bad way, physically in a bad way. I'm a strong believer when it comes to STEs, which stands for sexually transmitted energy. So if you go ahead and sleep with someone right off the bat. You know, you don't know what energy that person has. So that's why I always really promote that you should always take your time, especially if you're looking for a serious relationship, you know, for the what's that series out there.
So a lot of people kind of chimed in off my comment there. Trey Ellen said absolutely. Teresa said exactly. Nikita says yes. Kelly says I agree 100%. We should be complete, whole, and healed.
Absolutely.
And healed. So why don't you talk a little bit about that part? You said, Nicole, you said you were married and divorced, right? So two marriages. And so talk about being healed as well.
So I actually had the experience. So I was married for 15 years. That divorce happened pretty quickly and pretty suddenly. So instead of giving myself that time to heal, I got into a relationship right away. I didn't take any time to even process the fact that, you know, this guy that was my best friend and my husband and my family for 15 years is done now. I don't want to deal with it. I'm going to hop in another relationship. And I've lived through the damage that brings. You know, I have this guy that wants to be my husband, and all I'm doing is trying to replace what I had before. I wasn't looking at what he had to bring to me. I just didn't want to be alone. I didn't know how to be alone. You know, I think I was in my 30s when we got married. So I brought him insecurity. I brought him pain because I think he knew that I wasn't, you know, he was marrying me because I was pressuring him to get married to me. So I didn't give him the opportunity to be the man that he was going to be. So I, in turn, ruined him. So when we got divorced, because, you know, it was destined to fail because of the reasons that I was in it for. So when we got divorced, I had to deal with the trauma from 2 failed marriages. So I went through a lot of time. I had to soul search. You know, to me, it was like, well, he shouldn't have married me. Everything was his fault. Everything was my first husband's fault. Nothing that I did was wrong. And it took a long time for me to come back and realize that I had to look at myself. I had to be accountable for the things and the faults that I had in my marriages and the divorces. So, and I preach a lot about accountability. And you can't heal until you have accepted the things that you've done, until you forgive yourself, forgive them, and move through the process. You can't be a half of a person, like Mel says, and have a hole in your heart and be longing or sad about someone else and be looking for someone else to come in and complete you, because they'll never fill that hole. You have to fill that hole yourself before anybody can love you, or before you can even love yourself, before you've forgiven yourself.
Very, very insightful, and you could tell that you have done a lot of healing work. You know, you could definitely tell that
Thank you
have done a lot of healing work. And I think one of the main key elements that I deal with every day and that you shared about was accountability. And that thing right there, that will really, really help you understand yourself even more. So if a person is, you know, desiring to have better relations, or, you know, wondering why something happened and things like that, being accountable is the first step. And it's almost like they talk about in NA acceptance, accept the fact that you may have a problem with alcohol. It's the same thing, except the fact that you may have some issues in relationships. You know what I mean? So I had to do that myself. I had to do some really deep cleansing. I would say over the past year and a half, some really, really deep cleansing. So I totally understand where you're coming from. And within that cleansing, I really had to understand my accountability, and I learned a lot about boundaries. I learned a lot of different things, but it was a process. I really had to say to myself, did I really do that? Was that wrong? Yes, it was wrong. It took me a while to get to it was wrong. So it's even a process and accountability. So I just admonish anybody to be very patient with yourself.
And it is painful. It's very painful, but it is worth it at the end. You know, just like that person that you broke up with in middle school and you thought you were going to die. I can't live without this person. And look at you now living, and you don't even think about that person. Like, it's always a journey. And
I didn't until you brought it up again.
Were you accountable for what you did?
Now I'm thinking about my 8th grade crush. Thanks.
Oh. Sorry, Captain.
Love it.
So talk about just a little bit about your healing process. I mean, okay, it's good to be healed, but what steps did you take in order to actually heal? Were there a book that you read? Was it going to church? Was it meditation? Was it what did you do in order to get through it? I know everybody's not going to be the same, but what was your process as far as getting?
Let me tell you what I did. I put myself in time out. I spent a lot, 4.5 years by myself. I had to focus on me, learn me. Who am I? I've been married my entire adult life, and now I'm by myself, and I'm 40, I'm 41, I'm 42. So I had to, again, forgive myself.
Wow.
44? I'm 44 right now. Yeah, I'm 44.
When the show's over, you got to give us your skin cream secrets.
It's called melanin. Part of
it. Talk about black not cracking, man. Wow. Okay.
But yeah, for me, it really was a lot of forgiving myself. Again, accountability, which is so huge, and being by myself. Forcing myself to be by myself, because when you don't face your fears, figure out what your fears are and then face them, because that's the only way that you're going to grow from it. And it was like, that's why I got into the second marriage, because I didn't want to be alone. What is that? I don't know how to be alone. I don't know how to date. I'm old now. What am I going to do? So forcing myself to sit at home and not entertain people that I wasn't ready for, which I did have some of that, and pulling myself back from that and learning how to be disciplined and to face my fears and face the ugliness about myself too, because there's a lot of things that I did that were wrong. And like I said, it's painful to acknowledge those things, but getting to the end of the tunnel is important. But I also have a grandbaby. So he was in the process. My daughter-in-law was pregnant at this point. So that was a lot of my focus too, was being able to focus on him. And so he was a huge help in the process too.
Very nice, very nice. So a few more comments here I want to read. Michelle says, no jumping in the bed. Michelle W. I'm not exactly sure why you signed it there, but okay.
Hashtag facts.
Lavonda said, agree as far as going from relationship to relationship. Agree, bad idea. Let's see. As you all were talking, Shell says, talk about it, sis. She says exactly what she is saying, because if you are not whole going into a relationship, or you are going to do, all you're going to do is damage the next person.
Yes,
right.
Absolutely.
And that's painful too, to realize that you've brought someone that was whole and drug them down to your pain, your level, and that just is completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I love about what both our sisters stated, because the accountability is so true. I mean, contrary to a lot of belief, everyone just states time just heals everything. You have to self-reflect during that time. You have to realize, like for me in my early stage, I had to self-reflect. I used to be a cupcake brother. I was a cupcake brother. I was the kind of man that would, just because a woman was so pretty, that I would agree with everything she says, not knowing that was counterproductive, because that person is not learning off of you. Oh, she'll say, oh, the sky's purple. I'd be like, yeah, baby, the sky's purple. Those are cupcake tendencies, So I had
tendencies. Sorry.
Okay.
It's okay. Listen, I'm having issues over here. I'm sorry you got cut off. I'm having really bad feedback, but I'm just ignoring it and trying to hear everyone. But.
It's all good.
Oh, man.
So I just had to learn to really dive in and just really be unapologetic when it comes to my opinions, to really say my thoughts, to really state how I feel about things, of course, in a respectful manner. And, that just kind of just made me into a better man than I am today, and women will respect you if you're just truthful. If you're honest with yourself and you're truthful, they'll respect you and they will love you for it, instead of doing it the opposite and just being all soft and just trying to do everything, just to please. When deep down, it's not right.
Cupcake-like. Cupcake-ish.
Address your cupcakeness.
Cupcake-like tendencies. Kelly says, Absolutely. I found the process of healing and wholeness requires a willingness to be vulnerable and honest with one's self. Yeah,
Deep.
yeah.
Yeah.
Also, listen, I put the phone number up here. People, please call in. We want to hear your stories here, your internet dating stories. I know this is what the show is supposed to be about. We've been kind of, going off on this, but which is great. And I'm learning a lot about Cupcake Brothers and stuff. So make sure that you guys call in, tell us your stories, or about healing. It doesn't have to be negative stories about about how you healed or got through a relationship, or maybe you went on that line and found the love of your life, or whatever. So let's see. Shell Walter says you have to be willing to accept your own fault. Right.
Yes.
That is
Yeah,
something
that's
that is
Yeah.
incredibly difficult, to point the fingers at yourself and say that you were the problem. I was the problem. Right. That's really, really difficult. Shell says, yes, talk about it. Yes. Grief and loss are not exclusive to death. Right. People who go through divorces.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, Chris has always got some
Nice.
wise to
Chris,
say.
you gave me the
Wow.
chills and everything.
Thumbs up, Chris.
Yeah.
Nice.
I got to keep him away from Aisha though. They always tag teaming me.
Yes, you're doing well.
Let's see. Lavonda says it can be one of the hardest things for us to do, but as mentioned, healing and cleansing yourself is the most liberating thing we can do. But it's hard. It's hard. Yeah. Let's see. Kelly says not a Cupcake Brother. Wow, Cupcake Brother. Can I borrow that?
Please do.
We need to get that trending. Hashtag
Yeah, we
cupcake.
need to get that trending. Cupcake Brothers.
I mean, we have Cupcake sisters too, man. Like for me, listen, I love a strong feminine sister. Oh, I think that's incredible because just being strong-minded, being assertive, but yet soft and delicate at the same time and nurturing. That is such a powerful trait that our sisters have out there. And when I refer to the Cupcake Brothers, I mean, no woman, I'm sure the majority of women don't want a brother to do every single thing they want them to do as if they're an adopted son and not their man. They want a brother that's confident, ambitious, assertive, and they want them to lead. They don't want to fall into that mother and child relationship. And I see too many of our sisters out there in a mother and child relationship. They don't have the right hand man. They have a brother that they telling him what to do. A brother that probably is jobless, that refused to be productive, and so forth. And then on the opposite, there's a lot of father and child relationships where you have a lot of women out there that are with men that are controlling, not leading, but controlling. And I don't even call that a relationship. I call that more of a dictatorship when you have someone that's controlling. So Nicole and I just want to kill that and try to get us together as a unit in a positive direction when it comes to relationships.
Do you get any pushback from people of the more modern era who say this whole idea of masculinity and femininity in marriage and relationships, and I would assume that you're kind of alluding to gender roles. Do you get any pushback from them saying, you guys are outdated, stop this? Do you get any of that?
Yeah, I mean,
we get called old-fashioned all the time.
Yes. I mean, yeah, I mean, we do. I mean, but, at the end of the day, I mean, everyone has their own perspectives and everything like that. But the proof is in the pudding. I mean, the divorce rate is higher than ever. There's more, someone will get married the next day, hook up, and then, you see a lot of celebrities breaking up. And I think a lot of it has to do with not just following how we were, in my view, designed to be. I feel like brothers are designed to be providers, protectors, leaders. I feel the woman is nurturing, emotional, great supporter, helpmate. And I think right now the left shoe is on the right foot, and I feel like the right shoe is on the left foot. And when you come across that way, you are crip walking. There is no balance. There is no foundation at all. So in order for it to be natural, and I don't even call it old school, I call it natural school. That's my perspective. You just have to the more masculine you are, the more feminine that woman will be. And I have coached women that used to be masculine, and the moment that they start embracing their natural feminine essence, now they're in healthy and happy relationships because they embrace it.
Yeah. So I mean, talk about that embracing a little bit more. I mean, is it difficult? Why are they masculine in the first place? Is it some of the stuff that Nicole was talking about before about not having a good, strong role model to see what it is in the home? Is that part of it?
It's a variety of different options. It could be not a father in the household. It could be the people that they surround themselves with. It can even be the media, where modern society is pushing the idea um, for a woman to, certain women, not all, but certain women to have this mind frame that they don't need a man. And the more that a woman feels that they don't need a man, the less respect she has for that man. The less respect she has for that man, the less value she feels from that man. The less value, the more is as if, what position does he have to play to be in that relationship? And for the guys out there, the media is pushing this broadband that, hey, just lay back, don't be productive, let the woman pursue you. And I feel that when it's done on that side of the fence, too many women are putting themselves in positions to be heartbroken, because there's a lot of deceitful men out there that don't have to put in the effort to try to court that woman. And when they don't put in the effort and women are just falling into their lap, the wrong men could easily take advantage of them, can easily use them. So that's why I talk a lot about this at DBDS University, which we do have a platform and break things down about those types of flags. And I think that's why it's important to have these ideals, especially in today's society.
Nicole, your thoughts about that?
Really, everything that Mel said. To me, I think, and I can only speak to the woman's perspective, but turn on your TV. What are all these celebrities and musicians singing about? Women being independent and not needing a man and all that. I blame the media. And where I come from, I mean, I believe in gender roles. Absolutely. I think Aisha was talking about in the beginning how there's a lot of times when women have to put themselves in a man's position. Like, we're single, we have to maintain our households. We have to work, we have to mow our own lawn, we have to take out our own trash. And then when we come to the point where a man comes in, we have to be able to balance that out. So we do want to be feminine. There's women like, Aisha and I, we want to be feminine. We don't want that. We have to do it because we have to do it. But when a man comes in, we're able to put what we did aside and let a man be a man. And I think that's frowned upon. That's called old fashioned now. It's, everybody's about their WAP and what they can get on their own and using a man for this and then throwing them away. It's just not, music now doesn't talk about values and integrity and love, and gender roles, of course not.
So I just heard the song WAP the other day.
What?
I'm kidding.
I wish I never heard it at all.
I'm kidding about that. So
Captain Hunter in the WAP.
Yeah, I know. I probably lost like 15 subscribers or whatever. But just to piggyback off that, there's a line in that song that says, "I don't cook, I don't clean, but let me tell you how I got this ring." I mean, if that isn't a message to the young kids, teenagers, 13, 14, 15, 20-year-olds, 25-year-olds, that these ideas that we're calling old-fashioned are important, and you just put out, or except for if you're Michelle W., who's put it in there that she's not, that she's, and if you just put out, then you'll get a husband or a man or whatever. I mean, it really is destructive to our culture.
It is. I mean, I'll piggyback this off of what you just stated, right? I'll just use this as an analogy of how gender roles are so important. Say, for example, somebody, you hear like you and your wife in the bed, and you hear somebody break in, like dark downstairs, right? Who's gonna go downstairs to see if there's a robber in the house?
It's 50-50. You go one night, I'll go the next night.
I'm gonna get my pink pistol. Stay here.
No, I mean, it's the man's job. It's his job to be the protector. You know what I'm saying? It's his job to go down there to make sure that the family is taken care of and make sure they're safe. You know, it's not going to be, you're not going to send the man going to be in the bed or scare and send his woman down there to see if there's any danger. You know, um, I don't care if she's Ronda Rousey. That is the man's position to be the protector at all costs, at all point. Why do you think a brother's supposed to walk on the outside while the woman is on the inside of the sidewalk? Right? Protection. Right? So I feel like that's hardwired into our brain as men. That's the way we're designed. That's why, you know, our physiologies, our bone structures and everything. That's why our hands are made to be productive, to build, you know. And I feel like today, modern society is somehow trying to reverse those roles, you know. Now, I'm not just saying that let's go back to old times where the man work and the woman stay home. You know, I'm not referring to that, but I'm referring to like some of those examples I point out, like being the protector, being the provider, and things of that nature. I think that's very critical in a relationship.
Yeah, and I think sometimes when there are situations where men are being that and they kind of encounter the wrong person, it
Mhm.
really does damage at the end of the day. Just like a woman could be damaged from, say, a bad relationship or something she went through in a relationship, and they may have a tendency to have reluctancy going into the next relationship. I think the same happens with men too, and I think we don't discuss that a lot. Like a man that probably is fulfilling his duties, but he done picked the wrong girl, the wrong
Right.
Mm.
Right.
Yeah, it
woman.
happens.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
sometimes that happens, and sometimes that does something to a man. They can start being, you know, whorish after that, or there's things that happen, and I'll go a little bit deeper. Their
Mhm.
relationship with their mother is key too, on how they come into that
Mhm.
relationship.
Mhm.
What kind of messages did they receive during childhood? What kind of messages did a female receive during childhood that really dictate, who they are and how they are in relationships, besides relationship trauma? It's those messages. And I think that with relationships, the process is we are used to instant gratification, and
Right.
when we
Mhm.
were
Right.
younger it
Yeah.
was so easy to be like, oh, I'm gonna date this person and we're gonna have fun, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. And now you get older, and now the process changes,
Yeah.
and it's almost like you have to do away with your thoughts and those pleasures that you received while you were younger, because in adulthood it translates completely different to what you really want. So you kind of want that young you, but then when you get older, and it's like, okay, I still want to do those things, but you got to be very particular in who you choose to spend your time with and your
Right.
energy with, because
Mhm.
you can meet somebody that will have that young spicy you, and they can be young and spicy, but they cannot be the one you settle down with.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's about finding that balance and meeting the right person, and making proper decisions as far as how you move with that person, depending on what you want in your life and what the person actually presents, and do you guys have common interests, or what's the needs like? Those type of conversations are not being had previously, and I'm only saying that from experience because I'm starting to have them now. I'm
Mhm.
single. I want to start really getting to know people's soul now.
Mm.
Right.
As
That's
opposed
deep.
to
Right.
younger, it was a little different.
You
Okay,
can
hold on. We got a phone call here. We got a phone
Yeah.
call.
Oh.
Okay. Okay, here you go. State your name and you want to talk about gender roles, right?
My name is Shell. I am Aisha's friend, but I just wanted to say that I agree with what was being said about the different gender roles. And a lot of times as females, because we are put in those roles where we have to lead and we have to be the head of the household, it is very difficult. I was in a similar situation to where I had to step up and be mom and dad. I mean, I'm a single mom and I had to carry my household. And having a man there and him not feeling whole and not being able to take his rightful place as a leader, I had to be the leader in the household. So it made it very difficult for me to play that feminine role when I'm carrying you, and every time I try to transfer the role back over to you, you're not willing to take it. You know, but then we're arguing because you feel like I'm trying to demasculate you, but I'm trying to do everything possible to lift you up and elevate you so you can take your rightful place. And I think sometimes when you're in a relationship and you have somebody that may have some brokenness inside of them, that it's hard for you to turn over that role and be the feminine one. That was all I wanted to say.
Yeah.
Damn.
Love it.
Thank you so much for that. That was well said. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Very well said. To my sisters out there, be his supporter, but not his savior. It's not your job to build a man, you know, to put him together like Bob the Builder, or to do the fixer upper, you know. I feel that's why I'm so wholehearted on my brothers out there to really, you know, have a purpose in life, to have a life's calling. And that, I believe that's the first thing you should always be committed to. And when you find that right woman, you know, she'll tag along the journey with you, knowing that and the right woman will support your cause, will support your purpose. Because, I mean, I was dealing with a client last week and he was doing everything. I knew she was the wrong woman, but he was a martial art expert. And she told him, like, you're not spending enough time with me. Stop being a martial art instructor. And he gave up his passion.
Oh.
And at the end of the day, he still lost that woman. He was like, Mel, I did what she said. And she still left me. And I was like, you know why? Because you gave up your purpose. I was like, the right woman will support your purpose, will always support you. So that's why I tell my brothers out there, you can't lead a relationship if you can't lead yourself. And to my sisters out there, again, be his supporter, not a savior. If you're being his savior, then that means you're in a mother and child relationship. You're playing the role of a surrogate mother, not his woman.
Right.
I think that's well said. I want to get to Zakia's point here. Let's see. Zakia said, internet dating has made it a lot easier to send you representative rather than show up themselves. But then she says, I can't complain because I met my kid's father on the internet. I have 2 blessings for it. So you send your representative, you put your best foot forward, which is not a real foot. I'm assuming that she's saying, you know, you put up this image, a facade.
I definitely agree with that, but don't you do that when you start dating someone, even if you're just dating them out in public? Exactly. I mean, it's easier to be fake online. But when you meet someone, when any of us meet someone and we're dating, we put on our best. We don't go in there and be like, yeah, so my last divorce was, you know, I did this, I did that. I tried to be the man in the relationship. So we all put our best foot forward. That's why it's important to date someone for an extended period of time, so that facade will fall off and you get to know the real person.
How long would you recommend they date before marriage, and or just saying a committed relationship, moving in or whatever?
I wouldn't put a time limit on it. I feel like 2 people know. If you're paying attention, you know.
Okay.
Well, actually, in the book, what I have something called the 3 zones. We call it the 3 DBDS zones. And the first zone, we call it the friendship zone. During that friendship zone, that's where you take your time to get to know someone. That's where you do not have sex. That's where you see if there's some sort of compatibility, if there's some sort of chemistry factor, and so forth. The second zone is called the intimacy zone. That's where you two will decide where the relationship is heading to. Maybe you want to introduce that person to maybe some of your inner circle to see if there's some sort of compatibility. But during that portion, you want to know where the relationship is heading to. And then the last zone.
Hold on. Oh. If you guys want to hear the third zone, you got to buy the book. I don't want you to give everything away. Buy the book.
Okay.
Hold on.
So you guys
Your brothers, your sisters, listen up. Amazon.
Yep. Amazon. Listen up. So you guys want that third point as well as other points. Make sure you get that book. So let's see. So we got a lot of people saying yes. Elaine, y'all like that? Huh? It was holding on. Like, wait, what's the third book? Taking notes. Nah, you got to get that book. Yes, many times. Elaine says, yes, many times they lack seeing an example, right? These are the Cupcake Brothers that we're talking about again. Okay. Chris says, okay, so I'm clueless again. WAP? Oh, Jesus, Chris. Come on, Chris. First of all, you're spelling it wrong. Oh, man. Listen.
Chris,
We
I
got.
told him
We gotta invite Chris to the cookout. Chris is a white brother. We gotta invite him to the cookout. We gotta get him all caught up on all this stuff.
Oh man.
Okay, that's not the line. Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, enter at your own risk. Yes, that's how you spell it there, Chris. It's WAP. Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion. You can Google that. Make sure you wait for your kids. Make sure you wait for your kids and your grandkids when you put that song on. So, okay, then we get some help for Chris here. So. Kelly says facts and asking the right questions and listening to the body language and accent. Can I trust you, sir, with my submission in essence? Yeah, I do agree that many brothers will take that submission and just abuse it. I absolutely agree with that. Right? Can I trust you with all that is my sensitivity and strength, because I've worked on me to make sure I have the capacity to hold yours. Gender roles are vital.
Kelly.
Yes.
Yeah. Kelly, you got to come back on.
We need her on our show too. I'm gonna hit you up after this is over.
Yeah, Kelly's a good sister. Let's see. It's the relationship you see your mother and your aunt and cousin and grandmother in, and the males that you had in your life as a child that have a huge impact on the males you allow in your life, right? Yeah, and what you expect and accept. All of this sounds terrible. What is that? I don't know. All this sounds terrible. What do you mean by that, Michelle? I think it sounds good. What are you talking about, man?
I think she's talking about the sound, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe WAP.
Like
Maybe WAP. Maybe she's listening to WAP. She got WAP playing in the background.
Wow.
Thank you, sir. It's not our job. This is from Lavanda. Thank you, sir. It's not your job. The captain show is always educational. Yes, you're gonna learn. You're gonna learn some stuff here, Chris. You're gonna learn some stuff. You'll learn about the culture here tonight, Chris. I mean, yeah, that's some BS, and it's sending the wrong example to our kids, right? Yeah. I talked about that the last time. I'm in a place in my life where I don't want to have to heal or raising you. Yes, you did say that, Taki. You don't want to raise no boys, right? You don't. See, he's going, but I'm in the back with the leaf. So firearm ready to have his back.
Oh, she said, the guy breaking the house.
Yeah, the guy breaking the house. Okay.
Ain't nothing wrong with backup. We can be backup all day.
Yeah. The brother's supposed to be down there to protect you, sister. Protect you.
Let's see. Thank you, Zakia. Great promotion manager. Please don't read my content. There are typos in it. Okay, I'm sorry. I read it already. You have to date with a purpose. Let me know I'm down. So okay. Yeah, Kelly's a good sister.
I already wrote you down. I'm gonna be hitting you up right after this is over.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that's why it's so important. And last thing I want to just piggyback on, when a woman puts herself out there to try to reverse the role and pursue the man, like you stated, Lawrence, it's going to make it a lot easier for these brothers. We call them counterfeit brothers because they fake. And it's so easy for them to fall into that man's lap. It's almost as if this was the National Geographic, in the wilds of the jungle, that black antelope will just go right into that lion's claws, for him. What happened to my brother Captain? He's been going down a lot, brother.
Hey, baby, don't go.
I don't know.
There you go.
I think he tried to refresh.
Hey, I have to keep refreshing because I keep getting stuck on the wrong parts here, eyes half closed and whatnot. Yeah. No, that's all good. So let's finish off the show for anyone who does want to do internet dating here, and just talk about safety tips, right? I was gonna pull something up, but I'm afraid my computer's gonna crash or some crazy mess. So let's talk about just internet dating safety tips. And anybody does want to go on an internet site. It sounds like yours is very secure, but people may not go to yours. We want them to, yes. But just talk about some safety tips that you would have for people who are internet dating.
The new number one rule: don't meet up with someone right away. Make sure that you want to have a video camera, converse with them like how we're conversing with each other. Get to know their background a little bit more, talk to them. This is where during the friendship zone, you talk and get to know them. That's the most key ingredient. So that way you can pinpoint what kind of characteristics they have. You don't have to meet someone right away. You could just take your time and get to know that person.
Nicole, you have any advice, dating tips?
I do. My advice is when you're meeting someone online, don't give out your personal phone number right away. When you go out on a date with them, don't let them pick you up. Don't let them know where you live. Meet in a, like the buddy system, a well-lit place, a public place. Make sure nobody's following you. I mean, just all the basic general safety stuff for that women that we use in our everyday life. The article that you were going to pull up was the Plenty of Fish, where the guy, I think he ended up killing the woman or something like that. I've watched a million documentaries on internet dating, and it is absolutely terrifying. So you really need to pay attention. Listen to your gut. If you feel like something is off with somebody, it's probably because it is. Don't make excuses for people just because they're cute or they're beautiful. Yeah, there it is. So just really pay attention to your surroundings. Always let somebody know where you're going. Make sure that you have a plan set up. Don't go for a nightcap. Don't go to a second location. Just, keep everything 100.
Right.
Yeah, here's the article. This is from 2016. Police, man killed after meeting woman on Plenty of Fish. So the man, here's a situation where the man was killed, right? So there's so many different stories out here. So just be careful. Follow the advice of DBDS, and also, why is this still here? Why is this on here? Okay, and also Trey Allen says run a background check and Google them.
That's good idea.
Look up their Facebook page, look up their LinkedIn, look up everything you can. You might seem like you're being crazy, but be crazy. It's better than being dead.
Right.
Yes, that's definitely true. It's better than it's better than being dead.
Be safe, right?
And Shell says that's why you have to take your time and get to know the person. Right. I also like what you said very much about the video chatting, right? You got to do that.
We have that on our. That's one of our features on our DBDS site. We encourage people to use it, definitely, because if they're in the dark like this, there's an issue. There's something wrong.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Teresa's comment is really, really good.
Right.
Oh yeah, pass on info to another friend.
Always make sure somebody knows where you are at all times. That's really important.
Right.
That is important. Yeah, take some selfies, take a picture of the guys surreptitiously as you can, the license plate, and take a selfie and let them know what restaurant you're at. Okay, we're leaving the restaurant, going here. Send those text messages, right?
It's also not a bad idea to let him know that you've done that too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So my friends know where I'm at. Don't try to get crazy.
Don't go to no hotel room on the no.
Ladies.
Yeah. It needs to be said. It seems to be said. Great show as always. Thank you, everyone. Seems like a lot of effort I had to go into it. I guess into internet dating and finding out about the person, right?
Yes.
Lavonda says, I Googled someone once and found out that he had been arrested for stalking the stalking type behavior, as well as assaulting a former girlfriend. My gut was already telling me something was off about this dude, which made me Google.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Whoa. There's a good story right there.
Yeah.
Trust your gut.
Yes. Trust your gut. Share your location. Tell people you know. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. So we'll end the show there. Why don't you guys just give us your website again and your platforms, your university, all that you got going on.
So definitely you guys please join our website, dbdssingles.com. If you're seriously looking for a healthy relationship and you're serious and you're looking for that special person, go to dbdssingles.com. Also, if you want more great advice and relationship tips, make sure you purchase Dear Brothers, Dear Sisters, Listen Up, which is after DBDS, Dear Brothers, Dear Sisters, Listen Up. You buy it, it won't no longer be DBDS. DBDS will stand for Dope Brothers and Dope Sisters. So
Right.
you can buy the book. Also, you can go to DBDS university.teachable.com if you want to know more about the communication aspects, what flags to look out for. What does it mean someone's having an emotional temperature? Is that person more like a thermostat, which they can, control their own temperature, or their thermometer, all these different concepts and things that you could put into your own utility belt, so what kind of relationship you're looking out there. And also join our group, DBDS. We have over 6,000 people and continuously growing.
Mm-hmm.
We are growing, and make sure you check out our show every Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern time to 5 p.m. Eastern time. Talk about relationship topics. And if you'd like to be on the show, just either message Nicole or message myself, and we'll be more than happy to have you guys up there.
Awesome.
Yay.
Very good.
Oh.
Aisha, closing words there?
This feels like the end of a service for me. I'm sorry.
You're ready to give an offering.
Pass the tray.
Yeah. No, I just think that I'm glad that we ended it with the safety tips. People have to be safe out there. People are they're saying online dating has skyrocketed in COVID. From some of the literature that I was reading, that people are dating out of loneliness. They want to be able to still engage with people while quarantining, and they're still looking for connection. That's a natural thing that we want as human beings. Love, connection, somebody to just really engage with. So I would think that anybody out there that's looking to online date, that is online dating, just do it with safety. Take some safety precautions, and always just be aware that of what your surroundings is, and making proper choices where you go for your dates, all that type of stuff,
Right.
because a lot of places are closed. So and it's cold outside, so you got to get real creative with online dating nowadays. So do a lot of FaceTime at first initially, and then see where it goes from there. But just be safe overall. Everyone knows how to be safe. We got to listen to, like Nicole was saying, our gut, and just be honest and true to ourselves. Number one.
Right.
Very good. Very good. Thank you guys so much for coming on. Really, really appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having
Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for coming.
Absolutely. To everyone out there. So make sure you guys get the book there. Dear brothers, dear sisters, make sure you guys get the book, especially if you want to learn that third point that I cut off there. Make sure you guys
It's the best point, too.
That's why they got to get it. So listen, to everyone else out there who purchased my book. My book is here, and I just got the copies in. My kids apparently brought it in the house and didn't tell me that it was here. So I got my books. So anyone who's purchased the book, I will be mailing them out tomorrow. So you should have it in a couple of weeks. Be a great Christmas gift. Make sure that you guys just hit me up, either DM me, IM me, or see me on Facebook or Instagram or my email or whatever, and all that kind of stuff. So, and also, if you guys could and would, just make sure that you guys support Captain Hunter's podcast in any way that you can. PayPal, Cash App, Venmo. We really, really appreciate it. And I don't know, the banner seems to be going a little bit slow there, but anyway. So thanks, guys, so much for coming on. I really, really appreciate it. Make sure you guys pick up the book. Anyone who's out there, make sure you pass this information along. If you got a cousin or an aunt or a mother, or I think even to Aisha's point there, people are lonely. A lot of 40 plus year olds are catching STDs and all this kind of stuff because they're not being safe and being silly out there, so you gotta be safe. So that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Much love and peace, guys. Have a great night.
Bye.